One night, I dreamed a long, long dream. My sleep was terribly fitful. The wind blew strong and never stopped until it dried up all the oceans. In my dream, life just kind of went on. We went to work, the children went off to school as if nothing had changed. But something had changed. India and Africa had suddenly become our neighbors. There was nothing between them and us anymore. I did not understand until I saw her face. I saw her as I left my half-eaten plate to get dessert at the buffet. She pressed her little face against the restaurant's window, staring, wide-eyed. Was she a child? Her face was so weary, so worn, her bones so frail, like something from last night's news. I grabbed an apple and hurried out to find her, but she was gone. Oh, there she was, around the corner, drawn by the excited cries of other children who were crawling in and out of the restaurant's dumpster. The older ones hoisted up their treasures to share with their little brothers and sisters. A pizza crust, a melon rind, a fist of mashed potatoes. I stared for a while, unable to move, then finally turned in a daze and wandered down the street. The mall was right across the way. But what was that out front? The water fountain had turned into a water park. Children were swimming and splashing. Mothers were bathing. The joy, the laughter bubbled up and flowed out towards me. It was like they'd never seen running water. Maybe they hadn't. But what was that? Men were gathering all they could into bottles and cartons. Where were they taking it? Had they come from drought-stricken countries where water for drinking, cooking, bathing came from a single well miles away? Were they afraid that this too might dry up soon? I passed them slowly. I was trying to get my mind around it. What would their lives have been like? And then I walked into the mall. There, I saw a crowd, a growing crowd of men and women, children, covered in rags, their bony ribs showing through. They seemed as dazed as I. They wandered in and out of the stores. The clerks just stared, too shocked to know what to do. I stumbled into a bent-over grandma. She was gazing into a store filled with rows and rows of books. I mumbled an apology to her and tried to move on, and then I stopped to look again. Was that a look of longing in her tired eyes? Could it be that she'd never learned to read and write? Did she feel that life had passed her by? Nearby, a man gazed, transfixed by a huge television proudly displayed at the front of an electronics store. He reached his thin arm to touch the screen as if he thought the images were real. The picture was so clear, the sound was so perfect. And I looked at the price tag, and I guessed that it made no sense to him. Had he ever seen that much? Ever made that much, even in 4 or 5 years? I watched him slowly, stiffly, lower his body to the ground. His eyes never left the many wonders on the screen. I dropped myself onto a bench, stared at the man while he stared at the television. Why him and not me? Was I more clever at business? More industrious in my trade? Or was it simply where he and I happened to be born? I had never thought such thoughts. My mind began to ache. I closed my eyes, covered my face in my hands. I too felt weary. I longed to sleep and have it all go away. Is that how they all felt too? What was that shuffling sound? I opened my eyes and searched. Behind the bench, a woman moves herself slowly across the ground. She stretched her hands forward, then pulled herself up, then dragged her feet close. Like an inchworm, she was working her way towards the popcorn stand. Was it polio that had maimed those legs? Polio had been gone from my country for years. Was there no clinic in her village to immunize her as a girl? And what was she doing? I finally saw what she was trying to reach. It was the popcorn. She stuffed the popcorn into her mouth, the popcorn that had fallen on the ground. I fumbled for change in my pockets. I wanted to get her a fresh, clean bag. But my pajamas had no pockets. My money was at home. Was this a dream? Was this a nightmare? Or was it real? Again, I covered my face. Sobs shook my body. And then I woke up. My pillow was wet with tears, but it was just a dream. The oceans had not dried up after all. Or had they? Were these precious people now my nearby neighbors? Were their heartaches now my concerns? Only the new day would show if I was truly awake.